Hi friends, my name is Karen Levis and I'm so excited to share with you the book This Way Charlie with words by me and art by Charles Santoso. Thank you for joining with me on my honeysuckle raft. There's actually some honeysuckle here below, right here, a little bit of plant, and there's a honeysuckle plant in this book. So I'm really looking forward to sharing this book with you that's based on a true tale of animal friendship between a horse named Charlie and a goat named Jack. So, one thing I love to do when I'm reading is I love to think about feelings that I'm having that might be similar to feelings that the characters are having, or other similarities. So I might ask you a few questions. For example, at home, if you are somebody who has had or has hoped to have a very special friend in your life, will you take one hand and just put it on your heart like this? Thank you, friends. So the book is called, as I said, This Way Charlie, which is something that one of the characters says in the book. So when it comes up, we can all say it together. Let's start by saying it together now. Here we go. Say it with me. This Way Charlie. Jack watched the new animals scamper, hop, flap, and trot their way into Open Bud Ranch. Some would stay a short while and others longer. A few might make the ranch their home, like Jack had when he needed a safe and caring place to live. Open Bud Ranch had space for all kinds, and all kinds of space to heal, rest, and grow. Everyone could see that Jack liked keeping his space to himself. Everyone except for Charlie. When Charlie arrived, he didn't see Jack at all. "Hey," bleated Jack. "Pardon me," neighed Charlie. Jack could tell from how Charlie swerved this way, but not that way, that Charlie could only see out of one of his eyes. Antonia explained that once in a while, for different reasons, blindness happened. She couldn't mend Charlie's sight like she had the eagle's broken wing, or release him into the wild like the possums once they'd grown, but she could give Charlie time to see in his own new way. Antonia said everybody deserves plenty of food, love, and patience. By now, Jack knew this ranch gave plenty of fresh hay, groomed with soft brushes, and always trimmed hooves slowly. Still, he didn't want anything to get too close, too quick, or too loud. So Jack stepped back and he watched out for Charlie. Charlie whinnied to everyone in a cheerful way, swished his tail, and snorted, and stopped to sniff the honeysuckles the same way Jack liked to. He chewed thoughtfully and followed the sunlit patches as if he wanted to get to know the whole place. But Charlie couldn't go very far on his own. Sometimes he bumped, in an oops way, not a pushing way. A lot of times he stood still, in a lost way. Jack noticed Charlie's eye had a soft glow, like the moon, which often guided Jack when he felt lost in the dark. He wondered what Charlie used for a moon. Some mornings, Charlie pawed at a dry patch of dirt. Scratch, scratch, scratch. Hungry, thought Jack, or scared, maybe lonely. One day, Jack took an extra deep breath of honeysuckles. In for sweet, out for brave. Friends at home, if you've ever had to be brave, will you take a hand and put it on your heart? Yeah, I see a lot of you have been brave. And then let's all take a breath together. Ready? In for sweet and out for brave. This way, Charlie, Jack said, and showed him the way to his favorite field. They grazed and bathed in the sunlight. The next day, Jack did it again. This way, Charlie. Jack walked a little ahead and on Charlie's seeing side. He slowed down where the trail got steep, stomped when they reached fresh water, and when it got too hot, he called Charlie toward the shade. "Hey," Jack called. "Hay is for horses," Charlie called back. Soon, the next day became every day. Walk, graze, sunbathe, return. Sometimes a quiet like warm milk filled the space between them. Other times, Jack asked Charlie questions about swinging a long tail, about galloping, being so tall, going blind, about bugs, plants, and clouds, about the ranch, the world, and sometimes about dreams. "The way I see it," Charlie would answer, and Jack would listen. If you've ever been curious about a friend, will you take a hand and put it on your heart? On cold and wet mornings, instead of going to their place, Jack guided Charlie to the barn. Charlie would step in, but Jack always stayed out. He wanted to go where it looked peaceful and dry, but his body remembered a different barn from long ago that wasn't calm or kind. Charlie couldn't make the rain or the past disappear, but he could show Jack how kindness moves, sounds, and waits for skies to clear and new memories to take shape. Charlie could give Jack an inside, outside. Boom, crack. "Do you get scared of things you can't see?" Jack asked Charlie. "All the time," Charlie told Jack. "But the way I see it, that's what a friend like you is for." Friend. Jack chewed the word over like a mouthful of fresh, sweet grass. If you've ever had a friend help you, or if you've ever helped a friend, will you take a hand and just put it on your heart like that? Thanks for sharing. As the days went by, Charlie began walking more and more slowly. Then one day, he stopped. He couldn't see out of either of his eyes now. So Jack moved closer and to the center of the path. "This way, Charlie?" "Yes, this way, Jack." They kept walking, one hoof in front of the other, until it felt like Jack's steps were Charlie's and Charlie's steps were Jack's. Once, when the other goats went galloping by, Charlie said, "We could play with them today." Jack trembled. "Or maybe with the fawns?" Charlie asked. "Or the new raccoon?" "I can't." Making new friends gave Jack a bumpy feeling. "Let's just say hello, the way I see it." "No, you don't see. You can't see." Oh, and friends, I just want to pause here for a second because it looks to me like Jack is having some really big feelings. And some of the ones I'm seeing is I feel like Jack is feeling a little bit scared, and Jack is feeling a little bit mad, and Jack is feeling a little frustrated. If you have ever had any of those feelings, will you take a hand and put them on your heart? Thanks. Sometimes when we're having really big feelings, we end up accidentally snapping at people we love the most. Charlie was surprised. So was Jack. He hadn't meant to snap so close, so quick, so loud. A new kind of quiet filled the space between them. It felt like a swallow of dry, rotten grass rumbling around their insides. Maybe that's why they didn't notice the sky was rumbling too. Boom! Crack! Rain came pouring down so fast and thick that Jack couldn't see Charlie. Wind howled so loud that Charlie couldn't hear Jack. Trees bent, fell, and tangled, trapping Charlie. Jack tried this way and that way, but there was no way in and no way out. So Jack ran. Jack ran and ran for Charlie. He bleated to all the animals for Charlie. Jack banged at doors, found Antonia, and urged everyone to follow him closely. This way, Charlie. The mud was thick and the branches were strong, but the whole ranch working together was stronger. Finally, Charlie was free. Jack led the way inside. This way, friends. Everybody huddled together. Jack whispered, "I'm sorry," and Charlie whispered, "Thank you." The barn filled with all kinds of snores, dreams, and a quiet that neither Charlie nor Jack could see, but both could feel was splendid and warm. Like the sun that rose the next morning. They walked that day, the next day, and every day for the rest of their lives. One hoof in front of the other. This way, Charlie, this way. And that, friends, will you help me say, The end. Thank you. And will you also do something for me? Will you raise a hand like this and pat yourself on the back and say, I am a reader? I am a reader. I have to tell you something. A book is never finished until a reader like you reads it. And so one thing I wanted to show you is I'm going to have some activities that you can find on my website when you can do them with your grown-up. And one of them came from the idea on this page, and the idea that Jack looks to the moon when he's feeling a little confused or he doesn't know where to go. And I have some friends who kind of help me when I'm feeling confused. And so one of the activities you can do is make a moon badge for one of your friends. Write their name and then you can cut it out, make a moon, and I just grabbed some string and you can make a badge to hang to remind you about them or to give to them. And this one you can see is for you, readers. Thank you for coming to Storytime for This Way, Charlie by me and Charles.